Okay, so I'm gonna give everybody a chance to come in. What's going on, party people? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, the Black Business School. And as you know, each day or every other day on drboycetv.com, we have a lot of conversations about Black people, Black wealth, Black life, being strong in Black, all kinds of stuff. And today I'm here with my brother, Yusuf Abdur Rahman, who goes by the name of King Rising. And he is, Yusuf is a champion of many things. One of which happens to be cryptocurrency. He happens to know a lot about crypto. He's a bad dude in that particular area. And he's also just a really smart, conscientious Black man. So first of all, I want to ask my brother, how you doing today, man?
Man, I'm great. How about yourself?
I'm doing really well, man, really well. I'm sitting here and I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, trying to stay a step ahead of the white man. But it's all good, man. So let me ask you, what city are you in?
I'm in Houston, Texas. Nice and hot and dry and flat right now.
H-Town.
Chicago, right?
I am outside of Chicago. I live about an hour south in a suburb, which I won't name the suburb because I ain't trying to have nobody come and break my ankles if they get mad about something I said. Right. I'm like Dr. Dre when Dr. Dre went and hid out in the suburbs to get away from the killers and the gangsters and all that. Yeah, but I do live near Chicago. Yeah, man. So let me first just start with general stuff, man. Like what do you do? Like what would you, if you had to describe what your profession is and how you make your bread and how you live your life and all that, what would you say about yourself?
Well, in short, I just serve people. That's what I do. I'm a people server. I aim to try to reach and impact and improve the lifestyles of as many people, particularly African American people, as I can. I'm a little rigid, a little coarse around the edges. I'm a big proponent of pushing and promoting African and Black agendas. I'm not about, colored people or this time. I'm really about my people and putting my people first. So I receive a little bit of criticism and controversy for that. I'm sure you're familiar with criticism. But I use the financial markets as a tool, as a stepping stool for that. So with that, I examine cryptocurrencies. I look at Forex markets. I look at stock markets, primarily cryptocurrencies and the foreign exchange markets. And that's just the tool, the catalyst of what I choose to use to serve my people.
Okay, that's nice. That's good stuff. So Yusuf, I was you and I were talking a minute ago, and you actually had an interesting question for me. You were talking about all the videos that I do and all the stuff.
Yeah, great question. So, I'm fairly new to the social media online space. Most of the things I've done has been behind the scenes. I kind of started coming towards the front of the scenes, like really of recent. And I really started to get appreciation for what you do. Just going on camera, doing videos. I've done far less content, maybe 1% or less content, what you've done. And it can get extremely exhausting. Sometimes I feel like I'm repeating myself and I'm just going into the same verticals and channels of conversation. So I was curious, like, how do you keep, how do you stay passionate and motivated about talking in these narratives? And do you ever feel like you're just repeating yourself or you're just kicking a dead horse? Because I ran into that where I feel like I'm just talking about the exact same thing. And it's frankly exhausting.
Well, that's a great question. And actually in the Black Business School, I'm actually working with my brother to put together a mastermind program, just literally where I show people exactly what I do and how I do it. It's not going to be, it's going to cost slightly more than our typical Black Business School program because we want to be able to work with people on a smaller scale basis. I don't want a whole lot of people in there unless they're really into it. But the thing is that it is kind of an art. It's funny you used the term Iron Man. You said Dr. Boyce, you're like an Iron Man over there with that. So what's hilarious? What's hilarious, brother, is actually literally 10 minutes ago, I was on YouTube watching a whole video about a man who did an Ironman triathlon. right before you said that, I was fascinated you used that term Iron Man, because I was literally watching an Iron Man video right before that, because I've been trying to wonder what it takes to run a marathon, what it takes to train for an Ironman. And I think the reason I'm fascinated with that kind of thing is that mentality is really very consistent with what what we do on a day-to-day basis. One of the things I've been able to do to kind of get ahead of the competition, if you want to even call it that, I don't consider it competition. When you think of it as competition, you get caught up in pettiness and thinking, because somebody's doing bad, that means you're doing good. I try to get rid of that term in general, but I do compete with myself to push harder. And what I found is that a lot of it's about just, consistency and longevity. Consistency is very, very important. A lot of people are raised in an environment where you're forced to be consistent at the same thing every day for years and years and years in a row. You put your kid in the program, in the music program, they do it for 2 weeks. They say, oh, mommy, I don't like it. So we take them out, and you just kind of let them float around. Well, I think your kids are losing when you don't give them that chance to know what it feels like to be consistent in one thing. So one thing that helped me a lot was when I was younger, 21, 22, I wanted to get a PhD really bad. And because I wanted to be able to make some money and have education and all that. And it took me literally like 10 straight years of like studying 6-7 hours a day, every day consistently to get there. And you think about it, a lot of people just getting through college is hard, or just doing, a 6-month program or whatever is hard. I did that for 10 straight years. So that mentality carried over into what I do now. And basically the idea is, you pick something that you really want to do, something you want to be good at, and you just line up and you just do it every day. Like the way Tom Brady lines up, to take the snap, and they run the offense with precision on every play. It doesn't matter if the last play was a drop pass or if he got sacked on the last play or if it was a touchdown. It doesn't matter. You line up, you do the same thing every day consistently. And then at some point, the defense is going to open up and you're going to be able to get down the field and score a touchdown. And so that's the first step. The second thing is, in terms of finding things to talk about, what I notice is that people have conversations all day, every day. People are always talking. Go look at a social media page, or an active chat, or somebody's Facebook page. People will be writing whole damn dissertations on Facebook. That's true. Fuck Facebook. Seriously. Like you're literally, seriously, we'll put our best energy, our all of our time into writing content for Facebook, and they are monetizing that content and making money off that content from advertisers.
Very true.
And so my thought is, I'm not going to give my best thoughts and my best energy to a Facebook comment. I'm going to make a video about it. If I really got something to say, I can make a video. Anybody can create a YouTube channel. So you make a video, say the same shit you were just about to say on somebody's Facebook wall, and except now it's on your channel. And if you have a channel that's monetized, you can make money from that content. If you're good at it, there's strategies, there's methods to become good at that stuff. Also, there's ways to always have something new to talk about. You think about it on a day-to-day basis. We have themes in our lives. Like we have things that we're always interested in. Like if you love football, you might talk about football every day. Or the way, for example, I love poker. So I could talk about poker all day, every day to anybody, because it's a fun game. But every situation is different. Every conversation is different. And let's say that I love poker and I like talking about it every day, and I'm reading poker websites and I'm reading the news and seeing what happened. Then what happens is you start to get a feedback loop where you're absorbing information from the world, but you're regurgitating out with your own spin to it. But it has a consistent theme because it's always Yusuf. You know what I mean? But there's always something new that's happening. And the truth is that the news, it's just the news alone gives you a ton of things to talk about. So imagine if you were just, calling up your homeboy every day and just talking about what y'all saw on SportsCenter that day. There's always something new to talk about. It's going to be a consistent conversation, but it's going to be different. Like the whole season, you might be arguing whether or not LeBron can actually win a title with the Lakers. But each day there's like a new game, there's a new development, there's a new topic of conversation that allows you to take the conversation in different directions. Does that make sense?
No, that makes a lot of sense. I find it really interesting how you take these popular topics and still, bring it back into your narrative as far as, Black empowerment, financial, economic empowerment, whatnot. So I find that really interesting. But you mentioned something as far as finding something that you're really good at. Like, do you feel that Black people, we spend more time trying to find something that we really are passionate about versus something that we could monetize and make money and change our lives from? Like, for instance, we all know the person that, you know, the aspiring rapper. We all know that person in their late 30s and 40s. We all have that friend. You know, we all have that friend that is still trying to get onto the fire department. They've been applying there for year after year after year. So we all have that person in our lives that's always trying to do something that they really might have a infatuation or connection with personally, but we're suffering financially. Like, where do you find that balance, or do you think that's even a problem?
I do think that that's an issue, and I think that what happens is that there's what they call red oceans and blue oceans. Mm-hmm. A red ocean is where all the sharks are in there eating up all the fish, and the water's bloody because you got so much activity in that water. There's so much competition. It's hard to fish in a red ocean, right? A blue ocean is where nobody else is located, where you got a wide open spot. You know, it's easy to get started in that area. So when it comes to, like, I think where we put a lot of our energy, we end up aiming for a lot of red oceans, because a lot of times you got people that are trendsetters and trend followers. We have some segment of our community that's trendsetters. That's why Black people set trends for the whole world. But then you got a lot of people that just follow the pack. They just do what everybody else is doing. And that's a very bad mentality when it comes to investing, because an investor who is a trend follower is a person who's going to buy when the price goes up, because everybody's buying it. And then they're going to sell when the price goes down, because everybody's selling it. So they're going to lose money, because investing, you're supposed to buy low, sell high, not buy high, sell low.
Right, exactly.
And also in life, we got enough 45-year-old rappers, right? We got enough guys, little boys trying to become NFL players and NBA players. What we don't have enough of, for example, with children in sports, is we don't have enough Black kids that want to be the next Venus and Serena. We don't have enough, future Tiger Woods is out here. Why aren't we also, attacking those areas? So I think a smart parent says, yeah, basketball, football's played, too much competition, everybody's doing it. You're going to play golf, and we're going to have you be the best golfer ever, right? I
mean, the issue is, like, I understand as far as, I read that book by Rosa Brunson. I forgot the title of it, but it speaks about, the hero's journey.
Secrets or expert secrets?
Exactly, expert secrets, about the hero's journey, and then just creating your own blue ocean. So I can really identify with that. But even in sports, in the example that you've given, like, should we redirect our children towards, hey, why don't you play, baseball or tennis? Why not create our own, structure? And I know there's a lot of deep-rooted, deep-seated things in order for that to even be possible, but shouldn't that be the conversation or the narrative? Because at the end of the day, it's still Black people in a white construct. I mean, just the same thing as there could be a racist or illegitimate killing of a Black man by the hands of a Black cop. That Black cop still functions within a white power structure. So as long as we're the dancing monkey for these white corporations, I don't think it'll ever get better. Now, can we make money? Sure. But making money, as important as that is, where do we find that balance? Are we saying, let's go make this money because I can be a great tennis player? Or should we try to excel in business and investing and create our own tennis leagues?
Well, you got to be able to do both, right? I mean, it's, and if you want to know which is more important, excelling in business is more important than excelling in a sport. But, it's like it's more important to learn how to be a business owner than it is to learn how to be an employee. Everybody want to be an employee, but as you mentioned, the white supremacy keeps its foot on our neck because we don't know how to develop institutions. We don't know how to develop our own frameworks. Like, for example, imagine if every NBA player and every NFL player in America, as they were learning to play basketball, was also learning how to start a business and how to structure an organization. Exactly. Well, they would probably have their own sports league by now. Exactly. There would be no worry about Colin Kaepernick being blackballed or blacklisted because, all the great athletes would be trying to play for the Black Sports League anyway, right? Exactly. And so, so basically, I think that your point is quite accurate, that we don't spend enough time learning how to develop institutions. But, to be a people that love money that much, like, we sacrifice our lives for money. We spend time away from our children to get money. Some of us will die and kill over money. Well, if you love money that much, then you should learn how to make money. You should learn where money comes from, right? And I think that we don't know where money comes from because we think money comes from the white Jesus And I'm not talking about the white Jesus in heaven. I'm talking about the white Jesus at your job who writes a check for you and gives you money because you did some labor for him. That man is actually your real Jesus. It ain't something in the sky. It's literally the white man that you're begging for a job to take care of you, the guy who looks just like Donald Trump and doesn't respect you because he's looking at you thinking, well, wait, I created a business for my kids. Why can't you do the same thing? Oh, well, because your parents didn't prepare you for the future. Right? So I agree with you. I think that we should spend time thinking about how to monetize things. If you're really, really good at monetizing, then what happens is you can take any passion that you have and see the business model behind it. There's business and there's money everywhere. Just like a scientist, for example, with the right instruments, they can pick up all different elements in the air. They can pick up oxygen, bacteria, dust particles, all kinds of things that we can't even see, radio waves, microwaves, all kinds of things. And they're all floating around us all the time. We just don't see them because we're not equipped to see these things, right? But a scientist can't. Well, the same thing is true when it comes to money. A person who is able to, who understands money and how to monetize, they see money everywhere. They see money, with this lamp behind my head. Oh, that's $1 billion company that created that. This chair, $1 billion company created that. This shirt, somebody made paper off it. This Zoom that we're on right now, Zoom is making billions. This ink pen, there's a company that made this pen. This watch, you see what I mean? These glasses, you follow me? So there's money being made everywhere. There's commerce always happening. And the question we must ask ourselves as Black people is why is it that we're not equipped with the proper instruments, mental instruments to identify, all this money that's floating all around us all the time.
Something that you do that I really like, and I hope to implement in my family is that you guys meet every Sunday or every other Sunday. Y'all have like these little financial health checkups where y'all just talk about how everybody's doing, family, business, etc. And as often as Black people love to get together, we need to have those discussions a lot more often, a lot more frequent. So, I'm not to be controversial about, anyone's religious affiliations or whatnot, but at the same time, if we're going to be giving churches all of our money and spending all of our time there on Sundays, we need to have something, if that's what you do, we need to have something to at least balance that out and say, we won't come together to people and see how we can progress economically. And that's a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever it is, that's a conversation that we should be having consistently.
Well, there's nothing controversial about what you just said in the sense that you're 100% correct. And I think that a lot of church leadership, fortunately, does get that. They're not as many as there should be. But I know
they should be having it at church. Like after they do the little sermon, like everybody come in, let's talk about our financial affairs. Like I get it, boys, I get infuriated. I've had a couple videos get deleted because I get really infuriated about our complex as Black people, is that we're going to church and we're spending this money. And if you're a spiritual person, if you feel like you're getting value and connection, great. But I feel like that Black people, we get hope, and every other ethnic group, they get their heaven on earth, and we have to wait for our heaven after we die. So if we're going to be spending money, resources, and congregation at one focal place, and we're not talking about wealth building, that makes me extremely upset.
You know what? I'll tell you what's hilarious. I talked to a friend that actually a girl I dated a long time ago. I had a conversation with her, and she never understood why I couldn't, take the next step in the relationship. And I just never said anything because I didn't want to be mean. But I remember she said something to me. She always give me a hard time because I don't go to church. I'm spiritual, I believe in God, but I don't go to church, and I'm not going to apologize for that. But what's funny is she said something to me like, she said, well, I know that my blessings and my rewards are going to come in the afterlife. So I'm just here on earth, just biding my time. And that kind of, I said, okay, that's the kind of comment that would literally make me want to jump off a bridge. It's that passive behavior, like ain't no point in me even trying. I shouldn't do anything. I'm not capable of doing anything. I'm just a big, lazy buffoon klutz to just sit here and do nothing until I get to heaven, and that's when I'm gonna get all the rewards. And so I think that you can make that point without it being offensive to the people that go to church. You know, there are people in here that are watching right now that go to church. I think that's all good, but I think most decent Christians, intelligent Christians I know, they understand, you know, that faith without works is dead. That you can have all the faith in the world, but you ain't doing nothing, you ain't gonna get nothing, you know. And by the way, brother, let me tell everybody who I'm talking to, because they're asking me your name and they just came in. I'm speaking to Mr. Yusuf Abdur Rahman. I'll make sure I pronounce that right. And he goes by the name of King Rising. He knows a lot of stuff. He's big on cryptocurrency, but right now we're really talking as just two brothers talking about life and investing and everything else. And also, those of you who are watching on YouTube, you can actually subscribe to this channel. Make sure you subscribe. The URL, if you want to come back and see what we got up every day, every other day, we have videos that go up all the time. This is where I go live. So this is drboycetv.com. That's drboycetv.com. Please share that. Also, everybody in, please hit that thumbs up button, and also make sure you hit that subscribe button, and please share it on social media so that these conversations can get out there. Last but not least, the All Black National Convention happens at the end of September. You can learn more at allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. You gonna be able to make the convention this year, brother, or you gonna make the next one?
No, I think I'm actually going to make it. It's in Philly, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to come. You know, it's interesting that, you know, my name is Yusuf and I'm very proud. I love my name. And on Facebook, I go by King Risen. And when I first started operating on that mantra, I guess, I got some people a little upset about that. And the people that were upset were actually some people that looked like me. So the whole thing behind the King Risen was that I wanted to perpetuate the ideology that we're kings and we're queens. So it's not about me being a king. It's the fact that because I'm a king, you're also a king. It's not exclusive. Like, we're all kings, we're all queens. And I believe that we need to start conditioning, reprogramming ourselves. We go through life thinking that we're less than, we're inadequate, we're dumber. And the reality, in my view, we're the most talented mentally, physically, spiritually people on this green earth. And it's a travesty that we allowed anyone, any other ethnicities to trick us into believing differently. So just that little mental programming that I'm a king, that you're a king, it literally materializes in my everyday world. So when I go to the grocery stores, when I'm out in the malls, when I see my Black sisters and my Black brothers, I see them in jewelry, draped in African garments, and I treat them as such. So that little mental reminder how it materializes in real life. So I want to make that clear. It's not that I think I'm this guy. It's the fact that I think we're all this guy. We're all this people, and we all deserve respect, admiration, support, and anything we put ourselves to, we can accomplish because that's within us. We come from the kings of kings of kings. That's in our DNA to succeed, to strive, to push forward. So it's a reminder, not for me, it's a reminder for all of us that we're kings and queens. But yeah, I just want to share that.
Well, I think it's a great point. And there's nothing wrong with you saying, you know, calling yourself a king. I mean, you know, I think that anybody who would have the issue with that is in that crabs in a barrel mindset. You know, you being a king does not make them any less than what they are. You know, sometimes jealousy comes from the fact that when people see you rising, it makes them feel shorter, right? Or when they see you doing what you're supposed to do, it reminds them that they ain't doing what they're supposed to do. You know, and so what happens, unfortunately, is that rather than stepping up and rising to the occasion, a lot of people would rather see you just kind of come down so they don't feel as short. But then at that point, you just have two short ass people, you know, and so anybody that has that mindset, you know, you got to kind of just identify it when you see it. I think that when you encourage other people to do better, there's ain't nothing wrong with that. But another thing is like there's redemption too when you pre-designate yourself to be successful, to be a king or whatever it is a person wants to be. You're gonna have skeptics that don't believe you, or just for whatever reason they can't see a vision that big. But the great thing is that when you pursue that vision and you make it real, it makes those other people into believers too. Like T.I. had a great verse on his song. I can't remember which song it was, but he said, I called myself a king and them lames started laughing. Now those same lames want the king on the track with them. You know, So he's like, those same people who made fun of me for calling myself the king of the South, now those people want to work with me, and I identify with that too. I remember, when I first got started doing what I was doing, in academia, I didn't have a lot of black friends. A lot of the black scholars, a lot of them that I knew, were afraid to be around me because I would get them in trouble with white people. Right. And a lot of people in academia, that's how you get ahead. You live on pins and needles. You don't piss off white folks. And I was that crazy Negro who was like, man, fuck these people. They're mistreating us. This is abuse. This ain't right. So, I understand the fear, but I had just kind of given up on the whole masquerade. And so a lot of those people that distanced themselves from me years later, when I went out and actually was able to accomplish some things, it was like I was dreaming. My dreams were here, like in academia. I dreamed of making this much money, having this much success, whatever. And I went to here. You know what I mean? I was able to, I never talk about it, but I was literally making more money in a month than my colleagues were making a year. I had 100 times more fame than they ever had. So a lot of these people that gave me a hard time, those people now brag to their students that they know me, Right. And I thought about it. There's part of you that wants to be petty. It's like, oh man, fuck you, man. You went down from the jump. But but really what happens is, like, I think when you elevate your mind, you realize, like, it isn't really their fault. Like, it's the limitation, it's the fear.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. You're making so many great points. A wise man once told me you have to be empathetic to the average person. So when I hope we all transcend beyond normalcy, but some people just aren't there. So you have to be empathetic. So when those people are imposing those fears on you, you have to just understand what that is and recognize what that is. And when you transcend to be, if not compassionate, at least humble about it. So you don't owe people anything, especially the ones that doubted you, but at least have humility in your success. But you made so many great points. And even when I first started posting on Facebook, I take some very pointed positions. I love Black women. I think Black women are cherished and should be cherished and revered. So I make a lot of pointed things. And the more colorful my post has became, the less engagement I receive from certain people. Like, they're afraid to like certain posts because they don't want their employer seeing them commenting on my things. So I can really identify very much. It's really interesting. So I'm very fortunate to have a voice and to be able to be in position to speak on these things without fear of the white man cracking down on me. And I hope and wish that for everyone, to be able to live in their truth and walk in their truth without fear of somebody else muting them or silencing them and changing their lifestyle.
Well, I think that I'll tell you, Yusuf, I think it's like I found that, generally speaking, if you're trying to do anything that stands out or is not the norm or is extraordinarily good, bad, or otherwise, you're always going to have resistance. And it kind of gets to the point where you got to kind of understand that when you're too sensitive to how people react to what you do, like, you're responding to ghosts, like you're responding to nothingness. It really is pettiness, but it takes energy. It takes a lot of energy to be really petty and to fight off every petty reaction that people have and things like that. And what I've noticed is, like, people that really go on and do great things, they just kind of are able to just focus on what they're doing, and they take all that energy and put that energy into doing what they got to do, and then the pettiness kind of falls. Like, I think LeBron is doing a really good job with that. LeBron is kind of just, every time I open my mouth, people gonna lose their damn mind, but I'm still gonna just do what I feel like my purpose is, So I think pursuing your purpose has to be the top priority, and it takes time to get there because you have to kind of get past a lot of the limitations we have from being Black. I think Black culture in general is trained to be a very petty culture, where we're constantly worried about what other Black people think, what mom and them think, what the white man thinks. A lot of our news stories, if you look at News One, a lot of the headlines are literally like emotional reactions to what some white person said about Black people. Oh, look, this congressman called that Black man a monkey. or white man on the street tells a black woman to go back to Africa. Like, why would you spend time reading a news article about some random ass white man who doesn't like black people? When you're in competition, when you're in a competition, if you're really winning the competition, if you're really competing, your opponent is never going to like you. I mean, when Serena Williams wins Wimbledon and all the other shit she wins, her competitors probably want to see her dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're never gonna, they'll give her props. They'll be like, yeah, she's a great tennis player. But deep down, they're like, I can't stand it. You know what I mean? Like, for real, like, so you can't look to your competitors to give you emotional validation. What you look for, you get that from yourself, and maybe like from the people who really love you and have your back, like your family, and the people who understand why you're doing what you do. But outside of that, nobody else should matter.
So, Boyce, I wanted to ask you, like, getting back to the financial stuff, for people for the Black people that are watching this, that may be disadvantaged or disenfranchised, coming from disadvantageous environments or climates. A lot of times when they look at investing, they don't see it as food. When I say food, meaning something they could eat today, monetize from today, change their lives today. A lot of times perception is this is something I have to give to hopefully have something more for tomorrow. So I think we spoke on this a little bit, but as far as investing, I know you're a long-term investor. You believe like when you get into the market, you should be like, your intention should be at least 10 years, 15 years, 20 years out. So how would you respond to the person that says, hey, I agree with you, but I need something more dynamic today? Would you tell them, hey, educate yourself on a course, a skill, or like what would you say to that person?
I would think of it like this. If you look at your life, what is your goal in life right now? Your goal in life is to be good, to be in a good position, right? Right now in this moment, I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I want to have money in my pocket. That's what makes me feel good as a human being, right? Well, the thing about it is that there's there's not a whole lot I can do right now that's going to affect what's happening right now. Right? Like, for example, if the last 2 years I've been eating like the most horrible fast food imaginable and not exercising, I'm gonna be like obese and unhealthy and sick and dying, and I can't like right now change that. Like right now it's too late, right? So I think that what your person has to do is understand that everything that you call right now, it used to be called the future. And the only way I can impact what happens right now is if I impact the future, because what I'm calling the future is gonna be a right now at some point, along my path, right? So what I concluded was, I said, okay, if I want to be good in a particular moment, I've got to go back a year or 2 years before that moment and prepare for that moment to arrive. Almost like the way my brother's having a baby, he's preparing for the arrival of his child by getting ready now, right? And Sun Tzu in The Art of War said that all battles are won before they begin. Right? And if you've ever played football, for example, you understand that. You can't, a football program, the University of Alabama does not prepare for the NCAA championship the day before the game. They prepare the whole season, sometimes they prepare years in advance to get ready to try to win a championship, right? So ultimately, I think that in our lives, if we want to win championships, you have to commit to the idea of preparing years in advance, so that you can really be in a position to get ahead. Like everything you're seeing in my life that's happening right now today, good and bad and otherwise, was the result of things I started doing many, many years ago. And there are things that are going to happen in the year 2028 that I'm preparing for right now. You see, and I think that if you are too caught up in a culture based on instant gratification or just reactionary, like I'm living my life either gratifying myself right now to numb the pain of the consequences of choices I made in the past, right? I'm drinking liquor and smoking and drinking and taking drugs and having sex with a million women, nasty women or whatever, just to like numb the pain from the situation I put myself into. Like that mindset is one that only worsens itself over time. At some point, you have to be able to have a little bit of a level 2 vision. A level one vision is living in the moment. I'm reacting to things that are happening now. I'm numbing myself from the things that are happening now. I am in instant gratification mode. At that point, you're living like an animal. Animals do that. Dogs don't think about the future or the past. Dogs only live in the moment. If a dog sees a pretty female, he's gonna have sex with her. He ain't thinking about child support, extra kids, none of that. He's like, it looks good, I'm gonna hit it. If it tastes good, he's gonna eat it. If he gets mad, he's gonna fight. He ain't worried about, the consequences, right? So when you're living in level one mode, you're really, unfortunately, living like an animal. Media trains a lot of Black people, especially us men, to live like animals, to just live for the moment. I heard a rapper, Yo Gotti, one of his verses literally was, we live, but we gonna ball today, fuck tomorrow, right? and that's like a really bad message. Because when you say fuck tomorrow, you're really saying fuck yourself, and you're going to fuck yourself. You're right. You know what I mean?
But boys, the thing is this. It's like, let's say we have 100 Black people and they're living in a poverty-stricken mentality, environment, and propensity in essence. Now, to break that mold, we might get one of those people, two of those people, five of those people. I mean, just statistically, we're not going to get the majority of those people in order for them to start looking at their financial outlook at that level two, like the way you referenced. So is it more conducive to break that psychology, or to find a way to satisfy some of that level one behavior in order to get them into the level two? Like, do you like, what was your changing moment where you was like, you know what, I want to, where you actually started looking towards the future and seeing a much bigger horizon for yourself? Like, what was the pivotal moment? Like, do you remember that moment in your life?
It was really like, when you mean the pivotal moment where I started with level two thinking, started thinking more long term.
Exactly.
I think that, honestly, when you have, when you screwed yourself over and over and over again because you didn't plan ahead, eventually you just kind of hit rock bottom and you get tired of it. And that's what it was. I just said, man, I ain't trying to live like this. I don't want to, I don't want to always be broke. I don't want to always, not have what I want in life. I don't want to always be unhappy. So I'm gonna go ahead and make some sacrifices now so I don't keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again. So, but also I learned a lot of it from sports. Like, sports really teaches a lot. Like, people think I'm down on sports because I think Black men overinvest in sports. I'm not down on sports. You can learn a lot from sports. I just think sports should be secondary. It shouldn't be our primary focus. You shouldn't dedicate everything to it. And so with sports, man, when I used to run track, or play football or whatever sport was, I learned back then, like, if you want to be good, you practice every day. If you want to beat the next man, you practice harder than him. Whatever he's doing, you got to do twice as much or more than him if you want to be better than him. And that's how I see my competition with the white man. I always wanted more education than him. I wanted more preparation than him. I wanted more focus than him, etc. And I knew that if I did those things, I would have a chance to defeat him.
But how did you know that? Like, who was your example? Like, how did you know that was for you, that could be you? Like, what was that silver lining, I guess?
Honestly, I didn't figure a lot of that out till I got older, even though I learned how to work hard early from, like, watching my dad. My dad just didn't take shit he didn't take that lazy stuff. Like, his whole mindset was like, you a man, get off your ass. A man does not sit around and do nothing. A man does not, it does not let himself just get punked every time a tough situation or a tough person comes up. You know what I mean? So that helped, but I didn't have that confidence to believe that I could really do extraordinary things really until I was probably in college, and that just came from kind of figuring some things out, because actually as a kid, I didn't have the highest self-esteem, to be honest with you. But, in general, other things that inspired me, I remember, maybe I'd read something about Muhammad Ali, and how he was able to deal with all he went through. And I was like, well, he can deal with all of that, then I can deal with this. I remember my mother also telling me something very basic, that whatever you put energy into is always going to pay off, which also told me that if you don't put energy into it, it won't pay off. So ultimately, I would say to anybody who's saying, well, man, why is my financial situation not becoming what I want it to be? Well, the question is, are you putting energy into your financial situation? Are you putting energy into learning how to harness the power of money? Are you putting energy into learning things like investing in real estate and stuff like that? Are you studying millionaires to see what they do? Are you putting energy into saving your money and protecting it? Are you putting energy into it? And if you're not putting energy into it, then you shouldn't be surprised when it doesn't work out. What happens, I think, is, and I think this is where sometimes church gets us real bad, is like sometimes what church will do for us is it will make us think that if we just pray for something to happen, it's going to magically happen. I'm not sure. I'm not saying this is a bad mouth in church, but it creates a very passive kind of approach. Like if you ask somebody, like, so you're a young person, like, so what are you going to do? How are you going to be rich when you get older? They'll be like, yeah, I'm going to be rich. And you say, well, how are you going to get rich? I don't know. Well, that doesn't add up, right? That's like me saying in 20 minutes, I'm going to be across town. And somebody says, well, how are you going to get there? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to sit in the chair and I guess I'll be there. I'll magically appear across town. You can't do that. You must have a plan, and you must see yourself as the active catalyst in that plan. If you don't have a plan, then your dream is pretty much a figment of your imagination.
It's interesting you say that, because I think that, sidestepping from the church, is that other people from different ethnic groups and nationalities that have father figures, grandfathers that come from, generations of businesses that's been inside of the family, they have positive affirmations. Point in case, I have a son. So if my son decides to start her own business, I could give him a quick little cookie, like a little positive affirmation, a reward, like, oh, you started your own business? Well, let me go buy you your first round of merchandise. Let me go pay your, last 3 months lease. Like I can give him like little incentives to keep him going, soften the blow for him a little bit, but really just incentivize him. Whereas, because he's like a second generation entrepreneur. Whereas like the first generation entrepreneurs, which many of us are vastly, we read those books. If some of us read those books, if some of us get into the programs, if some of us put money into investing, whatever it is, and we don't see those instant gratification, those positive affirmations, and even worse, have role models of people that we know that we can reach to that have been propelled in high position of success. A lot of people, they fail within that buffer zone because they start to believe, they invest, they try to achieve, it gets hard, it gets uncomfortable, they lose faith, and they sink back down. So I think it's I don't want to sound dire or cryptic, but I think what's important and maybe even needed, I want your opinion on it, is that how can we give young Black boys, young Black girls, kings and queens, like little tokens, little positive affirmations that they're going the right way, that this is going to pay off? Or should it just all be all fair game and love and war, and they got to go through and brood it out and just have this conviction things are going to work out? Because I think that we're uniquely prescribed that, because other ethnicities, they don't have to deal with that. I mean, their uncle and grandfather, they had cell phone businesses, they had locksmith businesses, they had cosmetic businesses. So when the next generation comes through, they could tokenize them, cryptocurrency slang. Like they could give them little rewards, little treats. Like, okay, you're gonna do this. I'm sure, like if you've seen the next version of you and they're following your footsteps, you could butter their bread a little bit. So what do you think about it? Or do you think that's just bullshit? Like we should just do what we got to do?
No, I don't think it's bullshit. I mean, I think role models matter. I mean, that's why you have so many bad decisions by Black males, is because the men that they put on TV are making bad decisions. So they're copying what they're seeing, I mean, that's a tough question to answer, because it's one thing if the proper role models are not being advertised to these kids and they're not seeing them in their homes and not seeing them on media. But it's also another thing if they're given the option of having these role models and they're rejecting them too. I'm on the internet. Anybody can find me on the internet. Any parent, any child, anybody, anywhere can find, me on the web, and people like me, I provide literally the highest level of understanding of economics that there is. I trained PhDs, I trained college professors, I trained financial experts. So it's not as if there's like a magic ceiling where only white people get access to this information. It's out there, right? But you know, I'll never be as cool as like a rapper, you know, Future or Two Chains, you know, and their message is stronger, it's broader.
I don't think that the message, I mean, obviously the message is strong, but it impacts the way that they feel right now. Even though it may not change their circumstance, it changed the way that they feel, whether they're excited, whether they're euphoric, whether that's their turn up music, whatever it is. And I think the disconnect is that for the ones that, and I'm sure you know your numbers, your demographics really well, but for the ones that have a few dollars in their pocket, they don't have to be super affluent individuals. Like a Dr. Boyce Watkins is going to appeal to them. But for those that are really struggling, you may be inspirational, but you may not be functional to them. Like, how is Dr. Boyce Watkins going to help me today? And as quick as they tune in, they may just tune out because they're dealing with their day to day. So I'm actually working on something. It's a trading system rather, and the idea of it is to try to do that. It works on very short-term interims in the market to try to help people make money today. And I've actually been working on that for the last like year and a half, and hopefully I'll be able to work with some of the guys and just show you guys, and hopefully get more Black people on it. I'm not charging anything for it. Like, I wanted to create something to where I could help people understand the market and just learn how to make money, make a difference in their life today. And I think that's important. Like, instead of like what you do is important, but I can't imagine that you've been in the hood, like living in the hood anytime recently. So as you've excelled, you're going to have some level of disconnect from some of the people that really may struggle at the bottom. So you're saying, come up here where I'm at, but they can't even take that first step. Some of them, not all of them, you have a huge base, but some of them can't even take that first step. So like, how can we get those people that can't take that first step, who need to get pulled up a little bit?
Yeah, I think that to your point, it does make sense. You're not going to appeal to everybody, right? I don't try to appeal to everybody. Now, in terms of the hood and being poor and all that, I know that better than 99% of the people I've ever met. I mean, I was literally born in the projects with a 17-year-old single mother. Like there's not a poverty story in America that somebody could tell that I can't relate to, because I do remember the lights getting cut out, not having any food, car getting repossessed, like every story, and the thing is, we associate Blackness with a lot of the hard luck stories, and that's one of the ways, becomes one of the dividers we'll often use to say, oh, you don't know what it's like to be in my situation. No, actually I kind of do, and I know probably more about it than you do, and that's why I was determined to get away from that, right? But we can't say that, oh, but because you got away from it, I shouldn't listen to you, because actually you really should listen, because I can tell you how to get away from where you are, because I know I've been right there where you are. I've had friends that have gotten killed. Like every fucked up story about Black men that we could tell, from prison to everything else, I could tell those same stories. My biological father was in prison for drugs. My little brother was in prison for drugs. Like, you know what I mean? My homeboy, my best friend, got shot in the head in front of his daughter. Like, I got all of those stories. And I think that it's like, I think we got to get to the point where we say, why must a Black man have to tell stories like that in order for us to consider, anything, his message to be legit? I think that we have been fed and we have consumed and eaten the Boys in the Hood story. If you watch I didn't understand Boys in the Hood until a psychotherapist explained it. She said, that is the worst fucking movie ever. And I said, what do you mean? That's a great movie. That was Doughboy and Ice, and she said, no, you're telling Black men that no matter what you do, it's all going to end badly for you. You're getting them to internalize oppression and devastation. When Ricky's got this bright future and he's running down the alley and he gets shot in the back, like, you're kind of telling Black males, like, why would you even try? Like, Ricky did all that hard work and look, he still ended up dead, and I don't know if I agree with her analysis entirely, but I do think that there has to be some sort of message of positivity and hope that's out there. And now will I necessarily relate to like every 18-year-old in the hood that's into, stuff that I don't understand. No, I mean, I'm gonna relate more like maybe his dad or something. I'm not an 18-year-old in the hood, right? So there might be other people that could get that message a little more crisply to him. But understand this. I believe that when you have a message that is black and positive, it's very, very hard to hit everybody and to get everybody to act and to engage in action. But the beauty of it, though, is that if you get that talented 10th to really see their potential, that little kid in the hood who should be a leader, he should be a Malcolm X, and you wake him up, and I can do that. I got thousands of brothers around the world who tell me about what their life used to be and what it is now, and that I played a part in that. You get those guys to wake up, then what happens is you don't have to do all the heavy lifting. One person will not elevate 40 million people. You know what I mean? It's going to take all of us just doing our part. And that's all I'm doing. My goal is to do my part. I do not feel that I am capable, or I won't say capable, but it would be very, very difficult for me to hit everybody.
No, that's actually really wise. I mean, what you do and what you represent is going to appeal to certain people, and then it will take someone else like myself or somebody watching to hit someone else and to do their part. So that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. What's your opinions of cryptocurrency? How do you feel about cryptocurrency?
I love crypto, and by the way, as we move on, I want everybody to know I'm talking to my brother. His name online is a King Rising. His real name, his other name, is Yusuf Abdur Rahman. King Risen. I keep saying Rising, my bad. A King Risen, and he's an expert on a lot of different stuff, particularly cryptocurrency and other things. And also make sure you subscribe, hit the thumbs up button if you're on YouTube, share this video so that we can be connected. Come to drboycetv.com. That's where we go live, drboycetv.com. Now, let me answer your question. I think crypto is a good investment. I've got, I invested, in a lot of different areas, but I've invested a lot in crypto, and it's just sitting there. I made a lot of money from it. What happened was I started investing. I started really digging into it when it kind of started moving. Back when Bitcoin was like an astonishing $2,000, you know what I mean? Like it was like, oh my God, $2,000, it can't go any higher, right? So I started buying in when it was like at a 2,000 mark, and then it goes up to 20. So, my portfolio was gigantic. Then it sank down to where it is now. I guess we're about 6, 7, something like that. And but I didn't just buy the Bitcoin. I bought a lot of different coins and stuff like that. So I have a nice portfolio of crypto, and I made more than I started with, but I did not make as much as I would have had if it hadn't.
Damn it, boys! Damn it!
Right. But
there's this big debate online is traders versus hodlers or hodlers. So hodl is like hold on to your dear life or something like that. It's basically representative. It's to represent like just buy and hold, like never sell. So back in 2017, when we had that big parabolic run and everybody's making money, traders like myself were saying it's time to sell and take your profits, while others were saying, no, let's hold. And I actually, it was like November, it's actually in the DU I posted, it was like around Thanksgiving time. I said Bitcoin's going to about 20K, and after 20K, it's going to 6K. And that's really why I started getting some popularity. That's what you want to call it. And because everybody told me I was crazy, I was nut, I was on a crack pipe. So as we've seen, we went from 20K to 6K, and we were able to take some profit. Myself, and you spoke to Asmaret's Samir yesterday. She was my cryptocurrency advisor. So she told me about like which coins to get in. I made some money. Like I made a ton of money, a lot of altcoins. So shout out to you, Asmaret, Crypto Azzy. I love you for that one. But so I mean, we did really, really well, but we also knew when to get out of the market. So that was instrumental for us. So we have these big debates online. You got to get into some of these debates or maybe make a video out of it where these holders are just holding. They're like, we don't give a damn. We're going down with the ship. But I think cryptocurrency is going to actually go a lot further. I think we're going to actually, the market in itself is going to cut 50 to 70% again. And it's interesting because there's a lot of experts now. There was this big Glenn Beck special, and he had this trader advisor. He was like, cryptocurrencies now is about to boom. And he made that announcement when Bitcoin was like 8,500. Bitcoin's down to 7,000 now. And I think Bitcoin is going to go to 7,500 in that range and then drop down to like 4K, 3K. not financial advice, just a crazy guy's opinion. So I think we're going to see like a lot bigger discounts in crypto. And when we do, I want to see how these holders really hold up, because everyone loves crypto, but let's see how much you love Bitcoin when you've seen it at 20K and it drops down to 3K. In my view, it can even go down to 1K. So I want to see how faithful and committed these holders are, because I don't think we've seen enough pain in the market. So market has cycles, and I think we're in like the fear. I think we got to get into capitulation, and then I think we have to go into depression. So I want to buy crypto again when nobody wants it, when everybody's sick of it. They're like, this is stupid. I can't believe I allowed anyone to convince me to buy this bullshit. That's when I want to buy. And I don't think we got there yet. I think we have way too many hopeful long-term buyers, and they have to get squeezed out. So I know you're not that heavy into crypto. I just wanted to share that with you and your viewers, is that Bitcoin can rock it up. And another thing is where everybody has these confusion, because when you was on the video with Crypto Azzy, there was some people in the comments. I know you seen in the comments, I was responding to some people. So there was a lot of people confused about the ETFs. And I know a lot of people watching this, they're really concerned about crypto. So I want to share this with them. So the ETFs that got denied, they were bullshit ETFs. One got denied was the same thing as all 9. They were settled in spot, meaning they were settled in cash. We don't want an ETF that's settled in cash anyway. The ETF that we're waiting for is going to be settled in physical, and that could be delayed several times. A lot of industry experts, they're thinking that that ETF may not actually get a decision until November to February time. So that's the ETF we're all waiting on. But I also want to, and physical meaning the New York Stock Exchange is going to literally warehouse the cryptocurrency. They're actually going to buy crypto, hold crypto, and settle, meaning pay in crypto. But I want to caution everybody is that whenever we think the market is supposed to do something, a lot of times the opposite happens. So I make my money being a contrarian. Wherever everybody's saying buy, I'm selling. When people are saying sell, I'm buying. So I literally look in the group sometimes, and when people are buying, I'm looking to actually sell the market. So I'm a contrarian in that sense, because 95% of the time people are wrong. So if you just go against the people, you'll make money. So in that sense, I want to caution everybody as optimistic and bullish for those who really understand ETFs and this one getting settled in physical, to really be cautious, because that could be the exact thing that pushes this market down to 1K, sub 1K on BTC. The idea that we can't get under 6K because it costs 6K to mine one Bitcoin is just lunatic. So be savvy, be smart. Don't be personally in love with these investments, and see where the market goes. So I really want to share that, because I think that's a lot of misinformation in this crypto space. And from a technical perspective, it looks like it wants to go down a lot further.
Yeah, I think my position on crypto is, I'm probably a hodler, because the thing about it is that investing is a big forest, and a lot of times, all along while we're building the forest, we're analyzing the bark on every tree, and I want to show you something right quick. Let me show you. Look at this. Okay, so this is Amazon.com stock. Amazon is about $2,000 a share. Their market cap is approaching $1 trillion. A lot of people thought Apple was going to be the first $1 trillion company. It looks like Amazon might beat them to the punch. Now, if you look at this, so you see here today, the stock price hit $2,021. Go back 5 days, it's kind of had this upward trend from 1937 on up. Go back a month, that's kind of what you see. 6 months, you kind of see that, where it's as low as 1,400. Go back year to date, this is what it looks like. Start of the year at 1189. Now it's almost double that. If you go back 5 years, 5 years, it gets more interesting, right? You go back 5 years, you're talking about $359 a share. In 5 years, that's a big range. A lot of people that are in crypto haven't been in crypto more than 5 months, maybe 10 months, right? And they're thinking about, they're sort of drawing this picture in their head over a 1 year horizon of all these interesting things that have happened in crypto without kind of understanding. Like, if you think about your life, like a human life, 1 year is a very short period of time in a person's life. It's just 1 year. It's like, like if I'm watching the Dallas Cowboys, in 2018, that's 1 year performance. That it's very difficult for me to extrapolate, the last 40 years or the next 40 years over what happened over one season or two seasons, right? So anyway, let me show you a little bit more. Again, this is not me disagreeing at all. It's more me like adding perspective. Perspective tends to come when we sort of step out and look at it from a big picture point of view. So here's 5 years, right? And then you look at you go to the max where the longest trend. Now look at this. So if you go to Amazon, literally, I mean, 2007 was not that long ago. 2007. I mean, a lot of us remember 2007. Like it was yesterday. Amazon stock was $68. Right, $68. If you go back, in fact, even in 2012, it was 238. 2012, just 6 years when Obama was starting his second term. Go back to 2002, $13. Go back to the 1990s, you got $5, right? So it's very conceivable. I think I would argue that it would be easy for somebody at any stage from here all the way up to really even here to really have a hard time visualizing Amazon as a $2,000 a share company or as a $1 trillion company. Back when they were back here, they had tons of debt. It looked like they weren't even going to last. A lot of people felt that Amazon was a bad investment because they felt their market cap was too high for their financial performance. And so now you see, where they are today. So I'm not trying to say that this proves beyond a doubt that Bitcoin or crypto is the next Amazon. I'm not saying that at all. What it says is that we ain't seen nothing yet. We don't know nothing yet. Like, really, the best way to analyze crypto right now to me is I don't just want to know what's happening right this second and what's happened in the last couple of months. I need to know what's crypto look like over the last decade or the last 5 years or since crypto began. How many crashes have we had like this? And Mark Moss, I think, brought that point up where he was talking about all the times he was like, I was like, oh my God, look at this drop. It's huge. And he said, oh yeah, it did that in 2013 and 2015 and 2011. I said, oh, okay. So it happens a lot, right? And then the other thing too is I guarantee you that 10 years from now, we're going to have a whole lot of stories about activity in crypto to the point where we won't even remember in 2028, we won't even remember what we were talking about in 2018, and I think
that could very well be true. I mean, crypto is so speculative. There could be opportunities for new emerging technologies to insert in its place. So, I mean, you look at something like Bitcoin becoming a unit of account. I mean, in the life cycle of that is really in the beginning, early stages of that. The volatility, the fact that we can't pay taxes in Bitcoin, there's a lot of things that will hinder it from becoming an actual unit of account. So I have some legitimate non-biased concerns about cryptocurrency in general, although I am biased bullish in Bitcoin and crypto. But if you have to agree that there's, even in charts, you will always find human sentiment. And a wise investor once said, show me the charts, I'll tell you the news. And what that means is that whatever's happening in the market, it makes itself evident in the charts first, and then the news comes. Fundamental TA guides, we have this debate, but it's always been that way. So the better you are at reading charts, the better you are at communicating with what institutional investors are doing. I have a chart on Amazon pulled out. I would like to show it to you. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, I think you can.
I think you have to make me a panelist first. No, I can share it. Hold on.
Okay. I added something in here that made you a co-host or something like that.
All right, cool. So let me share my screen real quick. So this is Amazon. And I'm using Amazon because you gave it an example. And this is a system that I basically improvised. It's a cloud trading system. It was invented by this Japanese guy. His whole idea was to be able to understand the markets at one glance. But where he failed at was eliminating like false breakouts in the market and really embodying human sentiment and psychology. So I tweaked his system and I want to make it a little bit better, more adaptable for our people. So here's Amazon, for instance. So, and to give you just a basic breakdown, when price is above the cloud, that means prices going up. When prices below the cloud, that means prices going down. So if you would have gotten to Amazon here, there really wasn't much data, but let's just say that you knew nothing about Amazon until it was $89. Well, when price was below the cloud, you could have avoided all of this downtrend right here. Like this was about a 90% drop. And the time, this is a weekly chart. So we look at the time on this because you have to associate the time. So you're paying Amazon 89% of your wealth, and you're also paying them 600 and, well, actually about 700 days of your time. So you gave Amazon 2 years plus 80% of your investment because you believed in Amazon. Of course, that would have worked out for you, but in that particular time, it didn't work out so well. And the cost opportunity, what you could have done with that money, is actually cost you way more. So we had to calculate that. You would have got back into Amazon around $39 when it went up, when it went down. There would have been some indecision here. And there's ways you can filter this type of indecision out, but there would have been like little short buying and selling opportunities here. This is a weekly chart, so it's a pretty big opportunity to buy and sell. But you can really see shortly afterwards, you had a big break on Amazon right here. And Amazon did really well for about almost a year, 252 days. So you would have been really successful there. And you would have been able to get out of Amazon as well. But see, here's the deal. Not until Amazon went at $77, it was almost pretty much a straight rocket ship. So you would have got in at Amazon at $77 to $212 until $2012 where it is now. So the thing is about trading, it's not just about making money. Because say if you got in here, got out here, you didn't make much money. But what you also did was you saved yourself the time cost with it. So that money I'm not making, I'm not losing, I could deploy in other places and capitalize from. And as long as the trend is bullish, like the cloud is green, that lets me know that it's still bullish and it's bouncing from the cloud, it's not breaking the cloud. That lets me know that I could stay in Amazon and be in an equitable, profitable scenario. So I'm all for buying and holding. I'm not for stupidity. There's nothing you can tell me to convince me to be stupid. Like, I'm not going to buy anything and just hold it and let you tell me to believe in it. Like, we deserve better. We deserve better, boys. We have to know what's going on. So I agree with you as far as long-term investing, but we need to have an intellectual informed perspective. And without that, we don't, generally speaking, we don't have the luxury to just buy and hold. I'm not speaking to the doctor. I'm not speaking to the chiropractor. I'm not speaking to the person that owns his own trucking company. I'm speaking to the single mom. I'm speaking to the dad that works, second job and night shift. It's that money is food for them. So if we're going to say, hey, come off that food and let's do something different, then we need to be able to say, hey, this is why it's time to get into the market now in a high probability scenario, high probability event. And that's all there is. There's wins and losses. I win trades. I lose trades all the time. I'm in a trade right now in Bitcoin. I'm in a drawdown position. Drawdown meaning I'm not making money. I'm in a negative position waiting for the market to come back. So there's all types of things. It's never, I will never pretend like it's just rosy and I'm just skip the loo. Like, no, there's lots of headaches and lots of pitfalls. But if you strategize, you save time and money over just holding nonsensical. Let's take a look at Bitcoin and why I would have told you to drop that shit coin. Because right now at 2017, it was a shit coin, but it's going to come back and be Bitcoin again. But this is why I would have told you to drop Bitcoin. Just to show you how this works. So you can see here.
By the way, brother, I got the kids, and the kids are calling me to go and. But go ahead and let's wrap it up.
This is the last one. So you can see in 2017 we had that big bullish run, and we went underneath the cloud around $11,000. So even if you didn't know to take your profit off the top here, you would have known that Bitcoin was bearish at 11,000. So Bitcoin right now is $7,031. So that would have saved you, that would have at least given you double your Bitcoin that what you have now as far as value. So that's all I wanted to show. I know you have things to do. You're a busy guy.
No, I think that what you're saying is interesting. And my thought is that if it works, then it works. Because a lot of times when investing, it is a It's a philosophy. It's a matter of deciding, which approach you want to take. I'm a buy and hold person mainly because, in stocks anyway, I know what it's done, right? I know over time it's been a good approach to, especially if you're diversified, right? If all your money's in one investment, then you're investing wrong in the first place, because the number one rule of investing is spread your money out, right? But again, I'm not going to say that that's incorrect. I will just say that if that's the argument that one would make, you would have a lot of challenges that would come to that, from the fact that, all through the years that I was in grad school, I saw thousands of studies that went into like different trading systems and processes and things like that, and they seem to feel that buy and hold kept you away from the churn or the fear of missing out, or constantly feeling like you have to time the portfolio to buy and sell at just the right time. Now, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, though. I'm not going to say that at all. What I will say is that it certainly, at the very least, requires a specific tolerance for the stress that comes with having to constantly monitor the portfolio. Because you're looking at this on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis. I look at my portfolio once every 6 months.
That's there's some myth to that, because if you're using like a larger time frame, like a daily or weekly, it's not a day-to-day thing. Like the thing is, I'm not trying to make everyone traders, but I am wanting people to understand when you're in an uptrend and when you're in a downtrend. So there's time to take profit. Warren Buffett takes profit. He just doesn't hold his investments. He too takes profits. And we have to know when it's time, when the lights are getting cut out. So we have to know when to get off the bus and when to get back on the bus. Generally,
he does take profits, and it's funny. I don't know. I got to look and see exactly what he says all the time about it. But I remember he also did say, with stocks anyway, he wasn't talking about crypto. He doesn't. He seemed like he doesn't like.
Yeah, he doesn't mess with crypto.
But I remember him saying, if you're not prepared to hold a stock for 10 years, then you shouldn't hold it for 10 minutes. That was a quote that came out of his mouth. But you're right, though. He does sell things. And there's different reasons that one might sell. I tend to sell when I just need the cash to either buy something or to put it somewhere else, because I just feel like I just want to be in another industry. But I'm not going to say it's wrong. I will say, I guess at the end of the day, it's like, if you got the math to prove it, then it's all good. Plus, with crypto, trading systems could work, because you're talking about an unregulated market where a lot of very primitive kinds of things happen. Like for example, if everybody gets down on it and starts selling, and you can pick up on that, then it can work. With stocks, it's a little bit tougher because it's a different kind of market. But with crypto, you never know. So I'm not gonna say it's wrong. I will just say that it's almost like if I'm a Christian and you're a Muslim, we can learn from each other. But are we ever gonna see God the exact same way? Probably not. But does that mean that either one of us is wrong? I don't think so, right? So we could both be right? So, but it's good talking to you, brother. I had a really good time. I got to run. The kids just came home, so I got to go make sure they ain't burned down the house.
If we do this again, I want to hear more about like your take profits. Like when you decide to take profit, is it only or just you say like when you need something, but if you see like a stock goes up like 200%, you still hold it, or or do you just?
What I do is I don't like fucking with the IRS, to be real with you. When you're buying and selling, even when you're making money, if it's like a short-term gain, they tax it differently than if it's a long-term gain. So I tend to like for my gains to be long-term so that I don't get the tax hit. Because sometimes you feel like you're making money, but once they tax your ass, you're feeling like you're fried in your beer, right? But so I just to make it simpler, I tend to go more long-term. But usually when I sell, it's just because I just want to get out of that industry and go into something else. Or it might be because I want to take the money out and do something with it. I might want to take the money out and put it in my business. And I think that's, again, a general rule that most of us can agree on, is that capital is not meant to be destroyed. It's not meant to be spent at the mall or on a vacation. Capital is something that you move from one place to another. If you look at people that got big money, the way they operate with their money, they'll say, okay, I got $1 billion over here, $100 million over there. I'm gonna take this 100 million and get it out of stocks and put it into real estate, or out of real estate, or out of this type of real estate and put it into that type of real estate. You don't see them say, I'm gonna just go cash out of real estate and go spend it at the club. you know, and I think that consumer culture is what we want to avoid. So we can certainly have this debate on the merits of technical analysis and trading and things like that. I'm not saying that it's wrong at all. I would definitely want to learn more, and I definitely enjoyed talking to you, brother. It was nice.
Likewise, boys. Always a pleasure.
Yes, for real. Absolutely. So everybody, I'm talking to Mr. Yusuf Abdur Rahman. He goes by the name of King Risen. He's on the internet. He's a crypto expert, and he's deep and enthusiastic in this area. And he's part of the Digital Underground, which is in the Black Business School. So if you want to be a part of the Digital Underground, you can actually go to theblackbusinessschool.com and just search for the Digital Underground. We have a lot of crypto programs in addition to other programs on fundamental investing. I teach a stock market class, so if you want to learn how to invest in stocks, we have that there. Just all kinds of stuff, so you don't have to go spend $100,000 going to college. We actually have everything a business school has, except it costs you about $3 a day. So sign yourself up, sign your kids up, go give it a try. Every Black person needs to understand wealth. We also need to understand the law. That's why in the Black Business School we have wealth programs, and we have a law school taught by lawyers for people that want to understand the law. So literally we got you covered. So go check us out, theblackbusinessschool.com. Last but not least, don't forget All Black National Convention. The end of this month is going down, Philadelphia. Visit allblacknationalconvention.com if you want to either come out or check out the live stream. If you go to allblacknationalconvention.com, you can find the link for that. So thank you again, brother. It's good to see you.
Likewise.
All right, and everybody online, it's good to see you guys too. And I'm about to go check on these kids, make sure ain't nobody dead. So see you guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Boys.
All right, peace.